It is 5 o'clock. I'll call the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. We will begin with the roll. Alder Lefebvre. Here. Alder Decker.
Here.
Alder Perella.
Here.
Do we have anybody online? All right. Alder Feldy is unexcused. Mitchell is here. We have a quorum. Will you please join me in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Barring objection, we will skip over introductions. I believe everybody is familiar with each other at this point, and we will move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes from the December 23rd meeting. Is there any discussion on those minutes? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Takes us into our main stretch, starting with item 6, RO number 80 of 2425, submitting a notice of claim from Holden and Hahn, SC, regarding Dave's Who's In, and recommends filing the document.
Recommendation for filing, the matter was denied.
Questions or comments? If not, we would be looking for that motion to file.
I make a motion to file.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That item is filed. Next up is item 7, General Ordinance number 29 of 2425, an ordinance amending section 2-126 of the Sheboygan Municipal Code so as to change the council rule regarding remote attendance.
So it's in front of you for your review. It's fairly simple. It merely removes the notice requirement from the remote attendance ordinance and then removes the exceptions piece regarding that notice. So in essence, the remote attendance would remain allowed, but there would not be the requirement that there be notice of it put on the agenda in order for the person to be able to participate remotely.
Alder Perella?
Yeah, thank you for working on this change. I really appreciate it. Do you know if we are going to introduce, add the link to participate by default?
Are we going to introduce the link by default?
Are we going to add to the agendas a link to attend remotely to implement this ordinance on regular basis, or it is going to be only upon request?
I think you'd have to work with the clerk on that. The ordinance itself does not require one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Right, I can see that, yeah. Thank you.
Any other discussion among committee? Alder Decker?
I guess I just wanted, the reason that we've done this is it worked well when we had, during COVID. This is how we did it for the most part. This is how the county does it. Many other municipalities do it this way. I think it helps keep us from having any issues. I mean, there's, things come up all of a sudden at the last minute. We make it, for like our council meetings, we make notice on Friday. Something happens on a weekend, on a Saturday or Friday or whatever, and the next thing you know, somebody can't attend in person, but they could attend remotely. Sometimes job issues come about and things like that. I think this is just the right way to go.
Thank you. Any other discussion among committee? Alder Lefebvre?
As a matter of fact, that just happened to me just before the last common council meeting. The night before that, I slipped, fell, and hit my rib cage on the stoop of my daughter's house, and I was not in any kind of shape to be sitting at this dais at that time. So it happens, and so I can attest that it actually does happen.
Thank you. Any other discussion among committee? Otherwise, I will open that up to other alders present. Alder Heidemann.
Thank you, John. I kind of screwed up on this. Okay. Had I looked at my agenda when it came to common council and it was being referred to finance and personnel, I would have asked at that council meeting that this issue be referred to the committee of the whole. all right? Because I think there needs to be more discussion. We need to get why are we doing this? Is it because people don't show up to meetings? Or is it, obviously over the last 3 years, we've had not actually a number of people, but a few people that quite honestly didn't show up. And in one case, that individual is no longer on the Common Council. And another case, and I feel sorry for this person, she's no longer going to be on the Common Council. So the idea that we're instituting something to make sure that we always have a quorum, well, that issue might just go away. So if I could ask this committee to basically make a motion to refer it to the committee of the whole, I would really appreciate that, because other things that would come to mind that we'd have to do within this resolution is, how many times can you call in? How many, does it become such a thing where I'm looking at the agenda, I ain't going. There's nothing on there that I need to talk about. I'll just stay home. And I don't have to notify the clerk. I don't have to notify anybody. I just say, I'm zooming in. I don't think that's fair to our constituents. I don't think that's good government. So if there's a possibility that we could send this to the committee of the whole, or possibly hold this document until we have a new council. Those are two suggestions I have. I'd appreciate some consideration on it, and whatever you do with this, you do with it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Elder Heidemann. Elder Decker.
Well, I guess my rebut to that is that, first of all, it'll go to the full council, and we can have the discussion at full council. And that's basically the same as committee of the whole. So we can have that discussion there if you want to. Bob just gave just a great example. He was not able to then represent his constituents, but he could have if he would have been able to go online. This way, he would be able to do that and be able to represent his constituents. If you're concerned about representing our constituents, that's the best way to be able to do it, to make sure that we can represent our constituents. Something happens. If I come down with a really bad cold, I don't want to be sitting next to Rosie here and giving her my cold. So I can remote in and go, hey, so I can still do that. It still gives me that option and that representation to be able to do that. We did this for a year and a half during COVID. That was exactly how we did it. During that year and a half during COVID, I was on this dais the whole time. I did come in, but I did not. I don't discount anyone that didn't come in. That was their choice. That was their prerogative, and I don't have any problem with it. But that's I think that having this option, like I said, it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. This is how the county board does theirs all the time. They're always doing it. They've been doing this for years. So I don't see the problem with this.
Elder Perella.
Yeah, so one thing is also, as it is right now, we can do it. It's just that right now we have to give at least 24 to 48 hours notice. And for example, last time that I found myself in this situation was on Friday, and it was too late to do it for Monday. So that is the reason that I approve the idea that it is possible without the advance notice. I would also add that this is very useful. If you have a day job, it is very likely that you find yourself somewhere in a conference, somewhere in a meeting, and it is, if you can, in 5 minutes, open your desktop and participate instead of commuting here, that allows for, in fact, more participation. And we know that that happens quite often. We have colleagues right now on the Common Council that sometimes cannot attend because of job commitments. And I know that I found myself in this situation. So it's actually, as Dean said, rather to help participate more than less.
Alder Heidemann?
Thank you. In Bob's situation, that was unique. That just happened. There was an accident. Okay. In my previous experience with having spent time on the Common Council, before we had Zoom, before we had cell phones, way a long time ago, if we had individuals that didn't think that they could get to meetings or my job assignment changed, they stepped down from the Common Council. And if that's the case, then we can appoint somebody that will attend the meetings, that will be there, has that opportunity. When you run for public office in the city of Sheboygan, I would hope to think that you would expect to attend meetings and be there physically, because I believe that's what your constituents want you to do. And in some cases, when there's an argument coming before the Common Council, it's easier for you to anticipate what you're going to do make for a decision, because you see everything in front of you. That's not the case when you're on Zoom. Just another question. So if you're doing this and this is just for Common Council meetings, or is this also for committee meetings?
City Attorney?
This is an ordinance that relates to council meetings. Committee meetings, it is not set by ordinance, it's done by rule of council. So by indicating that the rules will also change, that would also change it for committee meetings. But committee meetings aren't technically covered by the ordinance.
So just so that I understand, it means that the same thing will go in effect for committee meetings, that you can Zoom and
Right.
you don't have to bother ever show up to a committee meeting again if you don't want to.
Right, you would show up by Zoom or whatever, that would be possible, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a couple comments from myself. Looking at this one, just thinking about it over the weekend, being able to attend remotely when necessary is a useful tool for us to have when there's an exceptional incident, something that you couldn't anticipate. It's a way to still participate where you otherwise may not have been able to. But on the other side of that coin, we've all been in meetings where if we haven't been the one that's attending remotely, somebody has been. It does not provide the same level of opportunity to be engaged in the discussion. Remotely, we don't have the buttons to buzz in and share our thoughts back and forth as easily. Most of the time, I don't think we can actually see the people on the screen to know that somebody would like to speak. So I think there are pretty serious limitations to it, and my concern with this is that there is no limiting factor. I don't want to send the message that you can run for city council and there's no expectation to actually be here in the building having those conversations most of the time. If there were a limiting factor on it, I think I'd be much more amenable to the idea. For now, the only factor that we have is that requirement of a little bit of notice ahead of time, which frankly I don't think is perfect for that use, but it is at least an existing limitation. The comment on sending to committee of the whole actually was something I was going to touch on as well. We don't have a formal rules committee on council, and when it comes to something like changing council rules, regardless of what we're talking about, whether it was this or anything else that we have, really would also seem to me like committee of the whole is the best venue to have that discussion, because it's a lot more open to actually speaking to each other than council, where we have pretty strict rules about how many times you can speak. So I would ask for that motion to refer to committee of the whole, but I will accept the motion made from the floor. Before that, though, Alder Perella.
Yeah, I also don't, sorry, maybe I missed what you meant, Chair, about why the Common Council would not be enough to discuss this point. I mean, as Dean said, we have ample of opportunities to discuss when this comes to the or stop it when it comes to the Common Council. I also want still to take the opportunity to say that the expectations of other people is to participate and do their best for their constituents. This is clear, right? I don't know if that is, maybe we have to reiterate it somewhere else. This is only to use a tool that is available for some specific circumstances. And I don't think it is going forward or giving the opportunity of representing constituents only if you don't have a day job. I actually want that type of diversity on the Common Council. I want people that work as well during the day and that are able to participate actively as representative of the constituents and of the city. But in order to make that possible, perhaps, again, when that conference comes and when that accident happens, we still have that opportunity. And again, that is possible right now as well. At least for some situations, we can do that with notice ahead of time. So in that sense, there would be no difference. And then there are those situations that we all have described. So again, this is to increase participation, not to decrease participation. If we want to reiterate in any shape or form that the expectation is for other people to be in person here, most of the time or all the time possibly, maybe we can do that, or maybe we have to find a venue to do that. But this tool does not eliminate that expectation, doesn't diminish or minimize that expectation at all.
Thank you. Do we have any other discussion from committee or council members present? Alder Heidemann.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know why you're so afraid to have a committee of the whole meeting on something like this and an issue that just doesn't make any sense.
All right, at this time, we will be taking a motion on the ordinance proposal on the floor. There's been a request to send to committee of the whole just for the sake of having that conversation. Otherwise, we'd be, I'm assuming, looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes no, but the motion passes. Takes us into item 8, which was a direct referral of resolution number 148 of 2425, authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the amended and restated services agreement between the city of Sheboygan and Solidarit U.S. Health Incorporated regarding provision of an employer health clinic for 2025.
Good evening. The contract is for our in-house clinic, Solidaritas, and I worked with our assistant city attorney, Liz Majerus, to review this contract and make sure it aligns with city contract language, and that is what is before you for approval tonight.
Questions or comments on this one? Alder Perella.
Just, I didn't catch, it is for 1 year or for 3 to 5 years? I think that there
3.
was 3. You said 3?
3.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Decker.
Are there any significant changes at all to this, at all, that from the past?
No.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Alder Perella.
Yes, thank you. Do you have feedback from the employees as far as the appreciation for this service or not?
Say that again, please.
Do the employees appreciate or like this service?
Yes, they do. And we've been working very hard over this past year to really highlight it and encourage staff to use it. It does provide a nice service in that the copay is $25. Its biggest use is probably for our chiropractic. So.
And the service is offered here within this building?
No, it's actually located about 3 blocks on Pennsylvania.
Very good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Alder LaFave.
Yes, what right before I retired from Bullrith Company, we had a health clinic with a registered practitioner, and that was very helpful. I could see how the employees for City Hall would use that, because I know I used it for maybe getting some blood tests done or whatever. And it's a well used, and I'm glad to see that the city is doing this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Comments, questions? All right. If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved.
Thank you.
The next regularly scheduled meeting will be January 27th of this year, and with that, we have exhausted our agenda and are looking for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.